Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to mtech viral. And in this video we are going to make another application, and this is going to be, as you can see on the screen, the Game of Thrones application. So I'm sure that you must have heard about what is Game of Thrones. So it is a TV series. So we are making this application, and this is just for beginners. And the reason why I'm making this, because I actually showed how to make this application in one of the dev fest, which is the Jalandhar one. And because I thought like how many of them missed how to actually go with this, because of their system was not working, or maybe because of the internet issues and Android Studio issues. So that's why I'm making this video. And today I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. If you want to use Android Studio, then you can use so basically just let me show you what kind of application it is. So as you can see on the home screen, we have this Game of Thrones image, and then we have this title of Game of Thrones, its runtime, its summary, and then we have a button which is all episodes, and then we have a refresh button as a floating action button, which I don't know we will be using or not. So when you will click on this all episodes, if you see it, that we have a cool animation of this image, which is a hero animation, and then we have list of episodes with their episodes and the season number, and then the title of that episode and with its image. So it's going to be a very simple application, just for a beginner, because if you're beginning with Flutter, so I'll just want to show you different kind of widgets, and we have a lot of application samples here on this channel, which is a Pokemon application, maybe a calculator. There are a lot of stuff. Okay, so and in next video maybe we will making a quiz application which will be interactive. So please be with me. And what we are going to do, so this Game of Thrones application will also receive updates in the form of videos, where we will implement how to play actually the trailers in this application. So we'll see how to play videos and everything. So today it's not going to be there, so please be with me if you want to understand how this application we can make. Okay, so what I am going to do here is I will press Command Shift P. You can press anything if you're using an Visual Studio. So Command Shift P or Control Shift P for Windows, and it will show me an option of Flutter new project. Okay, I'm going to name it GOT app. Okay, and then I'm going to select a folder here, and then it will create that application for me. Okay, so it will take few seconds, and then we will have this application. And one more thing guys, I'm doing a giveaway for Flutter t-shirts and DevFest t-shirts. So what you need to do is just subscribe to the channel and just write why you love Flutter in the comments. Okay, so you just have to be a subscriber, and you just have to write that why you love Flutter in the comments. And maybe next week I'll be declaring the winner. So let's do it. Okay, so basically what's going to happen is that we have created this project, and I'm not going to so much detail, but I'll just run this application once so that you can see. So I'll press F5 or function F5 if you have not the default function key available. So as you can see, this is the iPhone XS Max simulator. So it is not working, I guess. One second guys. So what we can do, let me just clean it so that this build can be gone and we can start with a fresh application. Okay, and so basically I'm using Visual Studio Code, so you can use Visual Studio, IntelliJ or Android Studio. That's totally your choice. I'm not saying that you have to use this one only, because I personally love VS Code a lot. So and I guess it makes sense to use Visual Studio Code because it is very lightweight. You don't need extra RAM or anything, so that's something good. So as you can see now, we have this Flutter demo homepage, which is a counter application where you can increase the counter, only increase. Okay, it's just for demonstration that how to actually start with one project. So we are not going to into detail how this actually works. We will just delete all of the code in the main dot, and you can see we have Android folder, iOS folder as well if you want to write Android specific or iOS specific code, which again we are not going to do. So we are into main dot. So what I'm going to do, I'll import material dot dart to get all the material components. Then I'll use this void main to actually enter into the application. So you can say like void main, the main method is the place where from where your application will start, and then we have this run app method where we will say that this is my app which I want to show. Now my app is going to be a stateless widget, so I hope I have already explained what is stateless and stateful widgets in my previous app. So stateless widgets are not supposed to change their states because it is kind of an immutable widget, and the stateful widget is something where states can change, like a text field where user will enter something every time and there will be a state change. Stateless widget can be like a logo which is not supposed to change, or maybe a text like your app name or anything, your name, which is not supposed to change. So we are going to use stateless widget. Now I'll give it a name, my app. Okay, now it's returning a container. Rather than container, we will return a material app where we have this home functionality where we can say a normal container just for the time being, and that's it. Now if I'll just perform hot reload here, let's see what happens. Oh, nothing happened. Oh, it stopped actually. Let me run it again. And so basically we have this material app which will give us some properties, like if you want to show the banner on the top, which is the banner for whether it is a debug build or a release build. So it's totally your choice. Now we will see. As you can see now, we have a blank black screen with a banner on the top which is saying debug. Let's disable this by using this flag debug show check mode banner, and let's make it false. And then we have many other properties, so let's use theme. And see, when I write this theme, let me just show you again. Then on the right hand side you can say what kind of widget it expects. So it accepts this theme data, so we'll say theme data. And now we will use primary swatch, which is a collection of colors which will automatically identify whatever color you will prefer. It will choose the colors according to that color. Let's say you choose red, so it will see what colors, like text color should be what, and any other color, like the accent color should be what. So it will decide that on the basis of that color. So I'll choose red. And now if I'll just do a hot reload, nothing will be shown because we have just a container in the home. So what we can say, we want a home page. Okay, now this home page is going to be a stateful widget because we are going to perform some data change, like we are going to perform some fetching of the data, because this Game of Thrones data is not static. It will be fetched from an API which we will be integrating. So there will be data change. So what will happen is that when you will open this app, so while opening it will fetch the data and show everything on this screen. Okay, so we'll make it a stateful widget, which is a home page. You just have to use this live template and everything will work. And now if I will just perform hot reload, everything remains the same because it is again returning a simple container. So rather than returning a container, we will return a scaffold. Okay, what is a scaffold? Scaffold is a kind of a material structure it provides, like every material app, if I'm saying material, which means it is actually following material design guidelines. So every material app is supposed to have an app bar on the top. Please make sure that it's on the top, and a floating action button on the bottom right, and then a drawer on the left. So that's all kind of stuff which we can get with the scaffold, and we don't have to specify their position because this scaffold automatically knows that where we have to place that. So suppose we want to provide this app bar, so we will say we want an app bar widget, and we can specify the title, which again takes a widget. Let's say it's a text, and here we can say Game of Thrones. And now if I will just hot reload, you can see the red app bar. It knows the position and everything, and it's done. It's that simple, right? And then after the app bar, we can use a floating action button where we can have the on pressed, which is now blank because it's a method callback, and it is blank because we are not doing anything. But because this is a button, this is supposed to have something when we will press this button. As you can see on the right hand side, we have this button now. And now what I'm going to do, we can take a child, because every widget can have a child if it accepts a single child. Otherwise, if it's a list view, scroll view, or something like that, right, row or column which is supposed to have multiple elements, then it will have a children. So this widget takes a child, so we'll just say icon, and from the icons library we can use any icon. So let's say I want to use refresh icon. So now if I'll perform hot reload by control or command S, then you can see we have the icon. Okay, that's the very simple thing which we can do. And now let's go to the body part, and it also takes a body widget. And for body, you can see we have again bottom sheet, bottom navigation bar, in fact drawer also. So you get everything with this scaffold. Okay, so now we are just going to use a body where we can just say my body. Okay, so this is what we have again. And it looks pretty cool, right? So this is it. Now we need to make this my body. Let's just do one thing. We can have a widget here on the top which we can say my body. Okay, because this method is a my body, the name of the method is my body, and it is supposed to return a widget because this body actually takes a widget. So that's why we have written this widget keyword. And now we can say it is returning a container for the time being, let's say. Okay, so now let's perform hot reload, and everything looks the same because we have an empty container. So suppose I just give it a color, and you will see the color. So let's give it a color, let's say green, and then you will see this green color, right? That means it is working. So that's it. I mean, just remove this if we don't need this. So now this situation is that we have this particular thing. Now if I'll just show you the screenshot. Okay, we have this one. So this is the screenshot which we are supposed to be building. Okay, oh my god, just wait a second. Okay, so you can see this is the kind of the same screen, but now we need something like this card, and for that we need some data. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to override one method which is provided by this state class, and that method is init state. Init state is the method which will be initialized in the very beginning of this part, when this screen will be shown to the user. So before showing that screen, this method will be the first one to be called. So now what we are going to do, we are going to fetch some data from the API. So now I'll show you what kind of API we will be using. So I'll go to my snippets lab and I'll see what API it is. So this is the API I'll be copying from here, and I'll just show you in the browser. And yes, so once you will enter this particular URL, you'll see this is kind of data you will get. This is a JSON data with some keys and values. So suppose ID is the key and value is 82 and everything. So for fetching this data, what we are going to do, we are going to make a model class, right? That's how we do it, right? So what we can do on the like, this is the data, we know that. So first of all, let's specify the URL. So in our class here, we can specify a URL. Okay, and we'll just paste that URL. Okay, and the source code will be available on GitHub, so don't have to worry about that. The link is in the description, so don't worry at all. And you can just copy from there, you can start the repository. So that's it. I mean, now you have the URL, but if you want to fetch the data from this URL, you have to remember all of these keys so that you can call these keys, and then it can be very, very, very difficult to do that, because you cannot remember every key every time. So what we are going to do is we will make a model class out of this. So what you can do, and just make it raw, just copy it and go to this website, which is json to dart. The link you can see here, or I'll just paste it into the description as well, or maybe you can just go to GitHub and just see. Okay, so now I'll just paste the particular JSON here, and then I will ask to generate the dart of it. So it will generate the dart of it. It's a kind of a very big dart, but we actually don't need everything. Okay, here are a lot of things in this API, and we just don't want that, because if you see this, then we just need a name of this particular TV series, its runtime, its maybe the summary of this TV series, then all episodes. That's it. I mean, if we see the second screen also, there is not so much information, right? There is some data, the summary, the name, and the season and the episode. That's it. And but if we see this, then we have a lot of data. So I'm just skipping this part. I have already filtered what data I need. So what I'm going to do here in the lib folder, I'll make another file which will be got.dart, and here I'm gonna copy paste some code, so please bear with me. So in the snippets lab, I have already this class which I made. Okay, just let me copy it from here and just paste it here. I'll just explain what I'm doing. So we have this now class, this got class, okay, which is taking a name, which will be the name of TV series, which will in this case will be Game of Thrones. The runtime, which is an integer, which will be any minutes, how much time it take to actually finish the episode. Image, which is again a class, which I will just show you, and that the name of this particular member is image. Then summary, then embedded actually is another class which takes a list of episodes which we want. And now this is what we have, this constructor, where we can this what we call it, name constructor, right? And then no, this is this one is the constructor again. So these are both two constructor. This parenthesis which we are using is to make it a constructor which is kind of takes optional fields. Okay, so these fields are not compulsory at that time, and also you can specify the fields with their names. Then we have this name constructor where we are actually taking the JSON data and actually mapping it with these class members, right? So that's what we are doing. And if you don't know about these things, so maybe you should learn few object-oriented programming stuff, so that I mean these things can be clear. So in this class embedded, we have again list of episodes, and the same thing. Then the class image, we have two kinds of image, one is medium and original. So that's what we are doing. And then in the episode class, we have the ID, URL, name, season, number, air date, airtime, air stamp, runtime, image, summary. We are not going to use everything of this, but many of this. Okay, so this is our got class. Now to fetch this data from the any server, or maybe it is at this particular location, this is the address. For that we need an HTTP protocol, or maybe you can say that we need to fetch this data by making a request, which will be a GET request. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to import something called http/http.dart, and we can say as http. Okay, so this is what we need. So this http will give us the access to its get method from where we can fetch the data. So in this init state, what we are going to do, we will make a variable response. Okay, let's not do it this, let's make another method, fetch episodes, let's say. Okay, and now we can make a method fetch episodes. Okay, yes, that looks good. Oh, this is nice. And now here we can just make a variable var response, and we can use this http dot get, because it's a get request, and then I can specify the URL. Okay, that's it. Now if we'll see this get, then you can see that it takes it gives a future response. Okay, which means that this method or this particular request can take some time to complete. Okay, so as soon as you will make a request, it can take some time, maybe few seconds, to give you the response. So it will be better if we can make it a future method. So how we can use that? So maybe we can use future keyword for that, and then we can delay and do a lot of stuff. But the shortcut way is just make this method async and await for it. Okay, so again, I have made a separate video on async and await. You can watch it on my channel, so don't worry about that. Now as soon as I will have the response, I will print that response. Okay, now just hot restart it from here. So how we can do that? Let me just open the terminal debug console as well, and let's just clean it. Now hot restart, control F5, and yeah, performing hot start. Just to look at the debug console, and as you can see, we got something Flutter instance of response, which means this response returning us a future. Okay, and this is just an instance. We don't know how to actually decode it. So there's something called Json serialization and deserialization, which we can do, but we need another library for that. So what we can gonna do, we're importing dart convert for this. Okay, and it will give us a method which is JSON decode. So what I'm going to do, I'll write something like decoded response. Okay, and then we can use this JSON decode, and here we can provide the source, which will be res.body, because every data is in the body. Okay, so we will have this decoded response, which will be key value pairs. Okay, and which we will provide to our what we say, our GOT class. Okay, so here we can just pass decoded response, and now I'll just do a perform a hot restart again, so that this init state can be called again. So control F5, and now you will see in the debug console we have a lot of data, right? We have the data now. Now we actually, what we want the GOT object here, which we created. So here what I can say, I want this GOT object like this, and then we need to import it. So you can press command dot by selecting this variable. If you're using Android Studio, then alt enter, and if you're using VS Code but with Windows, then control dot. So command dot for Mac, and it will say that you need to import this particular library, which is the GOT class, so that you can provide the reference of that class to this class. So now we have this GOT variable, which is by default null, but here now, because we have the response, we can say GOT is actually GOT dot from JSON. Now we can provide the JSON, and this decoded response is actually a kind of JSON, because it is a map with key and value. Okay, so we can just say decoded response. Now we have this GOT data, correct, and it's fine. Now in the body part, maybe because this request is gonna take some time, correct? So for that time period, we want to show maybe a circular indicator in the center, so that our user can understand that there is some data which is loading, so please wait for it. So what, rather than returning a container, what I will say, that check if GOT is null, and if it is null, we are using this ternary operator. Okay, so basically a conditional statement, you can say. So if we are checking if GOT is equal to null, which means we don't have the data yet. So in the center, we will use the center widget, and in the center, it's as a child, use circular progress indicator. Okay, but what if it is not null? Then maybe use just a container for the time being, and we'll fix that. Okay, so now you can see we have this circular indicator. So now what we need to do, just perform a hot restart again to check everything is working fine. And now you can see restarted application, we have the data, but it is still showing that particular indicator. Why is that? Because we are using a stateful widget. So once we will have the data, or there will be state change, we have to tell the framework that what, I have this data now, now can you please rebuild yourself? So how we can do that? We need to call a set state method. So set state will make sure that there are some changes. Now you need to perform a set state, which means this build method will be actually the compiler will actually do this building stuff again. So this build method will be called again, and then everything will be shown to the user. So so this is a normal process. I mean, this can be improved, but and you don't have to actually go inside that in the first video. So now I will perform the hot restart again, and let's see. We had this indicator, and as soon as we got the data, that indicator is gone, right? So what we can say in the container, maybe in the child, in the center, okay, we can again take a child and we can write text as data is arrived, okay, just to make sure that what we are saying is correct. So data is arrived, it is showing. Let's do a hot restart again, and now we will see it's an indicator, and now data is arrived, and that's how you can see in the debug console the same thing is happening. So now we have this data, we have everything. Now we have to show this data, right? So rather than using this container, what I can say my card, because I'm using a card, okay, so to show this data. So now I need to make this widget my card widget. So I can say my card, which now returns a card, of course, return a card, okay, material card. And in the card we can have properties like child, okay. So in the child we can have anything. So let's see the screenshot. One second, guys. And as you can see, we have this card, and we have these elements in the form of column where one element is below another, so you don't have to actually worry about it. So what you can do, you can directly use a column, okay. So column will take number of childrens, where you can specify what you want. So first of all, we want this icon, okay, or this image of Game of Thrones. So what we can do, because it's a circular image, so we can use a circle avatar. So circle avatar, it takes a background image, which is type of in image provider. So we have different image provider. So because we want to fetch this image from a network, so we will use network image, okay. Now we need to specify the URL. So we will ask the GOT object to give us the image, and we want the original one, okay. Now just to refresh it, perform hot reload, we can see the image, which is very small on the top somewhere. So what we need to do, we will need to fix its radius. So makes the radius as 100 maybe, and now it is kind of very big, and it looks good, but still we need some more data. So below this we will use a text, okay, and we can just say got.name, okay. And now we should have this text Game of Thrones, which is in the, and then same thing we will do, but for the runtime dot toString, because that's an integer. And then we need something called the summary, I guess. Yes, so if you see, yeah, this is a summary, and now it is looking good. Obviously it is taking the whole space now. And then what we need is, we need a button. So we can use a raised button because we want some elevation in that, or maybe it's your choice. If you want to use a flat button, then you can also use that, right? So the color is the first thing which we want to do is red. In on pressed, we are not doing anything as of now. And then in the child, we can just say a text saying all episodes. And now if I'll just refresh it, you can see this, okay. Now this card is taking the entire screen. We don't want to do that. So what we can say in the column, we can say main axis size should be minimum. So now you will see the card. Now you can see, now this card is now visible, but it's not looking good, right? So we need some padding as well. So we can just wrap it with some additional padding. Let's make it 18, and now it's looking much better, right? And we need the space between these items. So because we are using this main axis size dot min, so main axis alignment will not work, because you know what, you already said that you don't want any kind of this should be, the size should be the minimum. So what we can use a sized box between these items. So we will use a sized box with some height, let's say 10, okay, of 10 dp, and then let's use this, copy and paste it everywhere, and it should work, I guess. Yes. So now we have some space as well. Now this Game of Thrones text is not looking good, so we will give it some style, and this style takes a text style widget. So in the text style portion we can just say font size could be bigger. Let's make it 25, and now refresh it. It looks good. Font weight can be bold now. Font weight dot bold. Okay, and you know what, color can be changed now. So colors, let's make it green, and okay, it's looking good now. If we compare, it is kind of same, right? Now for the runtime, what we can do, and there is a lot of gaps, so maybe we can make it 20 dp rather than 10. Okay, we need to do this every time, and it's looking good. For the runtime, we'll just copy this style and paste it here. Okay, this is looking good. Rather than 25, we will make it 22, and rather than green, we can make it blue. So it's looking good. Now rather than just 60, we want to show a runtime is this minutes, so we can use string interpolation here. So what we need to do, we'll just use this these commas, upper commas or apostrophe, and then we can use this dollar sign to actually represent variable with this curly braces, and the result will be same, but rather than the 60, we can now write here runtime, oh sorry, before this dollar, runtime, and then this, and then minutes. Okay, now if we see this, runtime is 60 minutes. It's looking good. Now what we can do, we can just copy this style again and paste it with the summary as well, but rather than font size should be 20, and the color should be black only. So if we see this, oh, it is so big, so font size should be 15 or something. Okay, this is looking good. And maybe if you want to support multiple screen, then maybe you can wrap this widget, wrap with a new widget which is single child scroll view, so that you don't get, so this particular UI can be improved for sure depending on the type of device and everything, but because this is a very beginner kind of video, so I'm not going into detail. It's looking all good. And in the text field here, we can again copy the same style for all episodes, and rather than font size and font weight, we will just change the color to white, and now it is looking good. So as of now, everything is looking good, everything is working, and this is kind of same. If we see here, right, it's even better. So everything is looking cool kind of, and now we have to make a different screen which is a list of episodes. Okay, all the episodes. So what we need to do, we'll make another file, and we can call it episodes. Okay, episodes. Okay, episodes underscore page dot dart. Okay, and in this particular file, what we are going to do, we are going to do the second screen. Okay, so how we can do that, we will import again the material dot dart, and we will make this time the stateless widget, because we already have the data which we already fetched, so the data is not supposed to be changed until unless we want to do that. So make it a stateless widget and give it a name, let's say episodes page. Now for this particular screen to work, we need the list of episodes, and we also need that image, right? So if you'll see this screen again, we need this image on the top of the app bar, so we'll be needing that for sure. So what we need to do, we will go to main.dart, and now we somehow, when we will press on this all episodes, we want to go to that second screen. So how we can do that? For that, we will go to this onPressed method of this raised button, and we will use a Navigator class. So Navigator class works like how a stack works. Okay, so in a stack you can see, let's say you have a deck of cards and which are placed on the top of each other. So there is some, if you will insert a new card, then you will say that I pushed a card, and when you will remove one card on the from the top, then you'll say you popped a card. Similarly, this thing happens with this particular navigator as well. Whenever you want to push a new screen, then you can say navigator dot push, and when you want to go back, then you can say navigator dot pop, and that screen will be removed from this particular application. Okay, so now we can say push, but it takes a context and a route. So now let's talk about the context. So every build method you will find that we have this kind of context. Okay, so this context is basically you can say that it's a location of that widget in the widget tree. So that's it. I mean, okay, don't have to be very much serious about that. Okay, so we have the context. Now in the route, what we want to do, we will use a material page route, okay, which will take a builder, okay, and it also gives us a context. So we'll use that context, and now we need to specify at which screen we want to go. So the name of the screen is episodes page. Okay, it won't identify it yet because we need to import it as well. So we'll press command dot and we will import this. Now we are good to go. Now because this episodes page wants some episodes list, so what we can do, we can come here and we can say, you know what you want. So it will say I want a list of episodes. So let's say this is what he wants, list of episodes. Okay, it will import GOT class. And what else you want? I want an image. So my image, okay, my image, let's say, whatever. And now we need to import this. Okay, so my image, we will go to this GOT class and we will see what's the name of the image. One second. Okay, so it's the image. We can just change it because this image does not look good, I guess. It's totally your choice, whatever you want to use. So we can just say, maybe let's rename it to my image, so that this image stuff can be a little bit confusing. So let's just rename it to my image. And then what you can do here, okay, yeah, my image. Now what you need to do, you need to make a constructor episodes page, and maybe you can make it an optional constructor or whatever you want to do, so that you can give the name and you can actually reorder this particular let's say if I just write here this dot episodes and this dot my image, then once I'll go to this main dot, then here after I'll just press control space, then you can see depending on the name of the parameter you can give it the data. And if I will just remove this curly brace from here, then the data you need to send should be in this order only, because now you won't get anything. Okay, so that's the difference. So it's better to use this curly braces so that you know that what kind of data you're sending. So for the episodes part, you will ask the GOT dot maybe where is the episodes, in embedded, and then episodes. And for the my image, you can just say GOT dot image, and that's it. And now if I'll just press on the all episodes, it will move me to another screen, but this screen is now empty. So what we need, it is saying that you're inheriting, you should make this immutable and all blah blah blah. So let's try to make it immutable, and that's it, I guess. Yes. Okay, so now rather than returning a container, make it a scaffold again. And in the app bar, what we can do, we can just give it a title again, and we can just say, you know what, all episodes. Okay, it's looking good. Yes. And now you can see we have this back arrow as well, because this navigator class knows that you are now on the second screen or whatever screen. Now you want to go back as well, so that's why you don't have to implement this, it comes by default. So just press on it and you will back to the previous screen, press on all episodes and you go back to new screen. Okay, that's how easy it is. Now below that we want some body. So if we see this, it's kind of a grid view, right, where we have some data and on the top of it we have again some data. So what we are going to do, we are going to have a body here, and in the body we are going to have, let's say again, my body. Okay, now we will make this widget my body, and then we will return here the, maybe what you want to return, it can be a grid view, right? So we can say grid view dot builder. Okay, so now this grid view takes a grid delegate, which means you need to specify how many axes you want, like cross axis count should be what. So I'll just show you. Let's say I want to use this sliver grid delegate with fixed cross axis, which means you are making it fixed that this cross axis count should be 2 only, it cannot be dynamic. Child respect ratio should be 1.0, and that's it. Okay, this is done. Now you want to specify the item count, so you can ask the episodes dot length to give you the item count, and then it has something called item builder, like what kind of UI you want. So it takes a context and it takes an index to specify for a particular let's say a particular element, there should be an index, like how array works from 0 to an n number of things. Okay, so here we can just say a card, we want a card. Okay, so now if you will see, you can see some cards, right? Let me just give it a color so you can see it clearly. Color can be, let's say, green, and now if you will see this, we have a lot of cards, right, depending on the number of episodes we have. Now rather than this cross axis count 2, let's make it 3, and then you will see the difference. So this is 3, now make it 4, so you will see the difference, this is 4. So this is how you can manipulate it. If you want to change the child aspect ratio, let's make it 1.5, and you can see these cards are divided like that. Okay, that looks good. Okay, now in this card what we want, so in this card we want a child, okay, which will be a stack. Why? Because if we see this screen, let me just show you again, then we have an image, and on the top of that image we have some data. So to place anything on the top of each other, we can use stacks. Okay, stacks is again the same thing how Navigator works, right? Okay, it again takes a list of children. Now because it needs an image, so rather than using network image, because that was an image provider, here we can use something called image.network, which is a widget. Okay, and now here we need to provide this source, so we can say, you know what, I want my image dot original, and that's what we need. And now you can see we have this image, but we actually don't need this my image because we want the image of the episodes. So we can just delete this line. We can ask the episodes variable, I'll just say, this is your index, take it and give me the image. So here the image dot original. So now if I'll just refresh it, you will see the images. Okay, and these are the images. If you just want to compare it with this, then you can see. Okay, but the image is not coming in the full size. Why? Because we need to provide a fit for that. So this image dot network provides this property, which is box fit, and you can say, man, please cover it. So it will just cover it. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, it didn't work because this stack by default makes the fit of stack fit as loose, so we want to expand it. So now let's just refresh it, and that's it. You have this full image now. It's looking good. And even if you want to give it some kind of color, then you can give it, let's say, black. Okay, and it looks black. Now you also have blend modes, like if you want to do some Photoshop stuff, then you can see color dodge, and it will give you a color dodge. Color burn, it will burn the color, I guess. Yes. Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Hard light, and you can see you can have a lot of effects. I mean, I'm not good with Photoshop, so I probably cannot tell you the exact things what's happening here. Let's say difference. Oh, this is not different anywhere, like exclusion. So a lot of stuff. I mean, let's try anything. Overlay. Okay, so you can see there are some difference, right? So we can use a darker one, maybe, if that works for us. Oh, this is too dark. We actually don't need to use this, so we can remove this as well, because our image is kind of very not that much bright, so that that makes a difference. Okay, now after this image we want this text. Okay, winter is coming, so we can use a column if we want many text. So I'm just using a column so that we can maybe in future use many multiple texts. So here we can just say, I want a text of this particular episode, so we can say episodes, provide the index to this list, and then fetch its name. So it's like that. Okay, now it is available, but it is some black color, so we need to change its color, so we'll provide a text style. Okay, and now in the color we can just say colors dot white. Now you can see that, right? Now let's also increase the font size. So font size, make it 20, if that will be good. Yes, it's good. And we can also make the font weight to bold. Oh, this is looking good. And now we want to place it in the main axis alignment dot end, so we can place it here. That looks good. And we can also give it a padding, I guess, so that it does not look that bad. It is fine now. It's kind of same, rather than the font size is too big, so make it 16 maybe. It's looking good, much better. Yes, now we want the number of season and the number of episode. Oh, so the season number and the episode. So after this text of this maybe in fact the padding, what we can do, we can use another widget, which is the position widget, because what this position widget do, it actually works with stacks, and you can specify the position where you want to show something. So we want something on the left, and the difference would be 0 dp, because we just want the specific left and on the top. Okay, that's it. And now in the child part we can use a container. Okay, and we can make the color as colors dot red, obviously. And now you will see that we don't have anything because we don't have any child. So in the child part we can have a text which will actually receive something called episodes. Okay, we'll just use the dollar sign here, episodes index and dot season. Okay, dot to string, or maybe the season will work. Okay, now you can see we have this one. Now after that we will use this hyphen, and then we'll just copy this stuff and paste it here. Rather than season we will say the episode, or number should be there. And it looks good, but it is very small and of black color, so we need to change the color as well. So we can say style, text style, color, and okay, colors dot white, and boom, it's look good. Font weight, font weight dot bold, it looks even better. And then this text can take some padding. Oh, it's good. 12, it's even better. Or maybe if you want to increase, you can even increase it more. It's look good, right? Now we have the season number as well. Oh my god. Okay, everything is looking cool. We have the season 3 is here, season 4 is here, 5 is here. Okay, this is looking pretty cool. Now we want to do something. What we want, as you can see here, one second, let me just show you that this all episodes is actually having this image which we haven't used. So what we will do, here in the app bar we can remove this text and use a row instead. Okay, and in the row it takes a children. We can again use a circle avatar, we can again use the background image, and then we can again use the network image, and we can just say this time I want my image dot image original, or maybe medium, whatever you want, medium this time. And now you will see, oh, this app is crashed somehow. Okay, and now we will paste the text as well, and now I'll just run this again so that we can see the difference. And this is what we are doing this because we want some kind of animation, which is the hero animation, and it's very easy with Flutter. So that's what I am going to show you, and just bear with me for a few more seconds, guys. Okay, wait one more second. And now we have this Game of Thrones, data is coming, data is arrived, all episodes, and you can see we have this all episodes. Now we want to give some distance between them. You can use size box, but this time with the width property, 10 would be good, I guess. It looks good. Now if you want to see, there is no animation, right, with this, because this Game of Thrones image is same which is here. So when you are moving from one screen to another and you have the same image at both the places, you can perform hero animation. So what you need to do, just go to this main dot, have this circle avatar, and just wrap it with another widget, which is a hero widget. Now hero wants a tag. Okay, what kind of tag? It is saying that you need to specify, give it a unique identity. So let's say it's G1. Okay, whatever you want. And the same thing you need to give to the second screen. You need to also wrap it with a new widget, which is hero, and the tag should be same. So tag could be anything. So let's make it G1. Okay, we are done. That's it. And now if I'll just press on the all episode, you will see the animation. Did you see it? Let me just do it again, and just see this image. Okay, and this is the hero animation, and it looks pretty cool, correct? Now if I just press on this particular episode, I also want to show its summary. So what I can do, I will just go here, okay, on this particular card, and what I can do, I'll wrap it with a new widget, which is an inkwell widget. Okay, inkwell, and now it will give me a property called ontap. And on the on tap, I want to say, let's say I want to show summary. Let's say that's a method, and now we can just make a show summary method here. Okay, and here what we can say, we want to show a dialog which will take a context, obviously. Okay, and for that we need to pass the context actually. So what we can do, we can have maybe a context here. Let's say build context. Let's just wait for a second. Let's make it context. Okay, and when we go to our build method, we can just assign that context like this, and this is a shortcut way. You can change it differently. And in the dialog part, we have this builder, which again takes a widget. So I don't think it takes anything. I take something. So let's see what it takes. It takes a context, I guess, again, and it will give us something. Okay, now in the context, in the builder show dialog, what you want to show, that's the thing. So maybe you can show a card again. Okay, and in the child, you can again show something called the episodes. Okay, now you need the index. So what you can do, just in the summary, just pass episodes index dot summary. Okay, and then accept it in the parameter. So string summary, and just pass the summary here, and I guess it will be good to go. Now let's press on this. Oh, we got it, but we want it into the center, right? So what we can do here, we can just center this so that it does not look that bad. Okay, let's try again. Oh, this is looking good, but we need some kind of padding as well, right, in the card, and that call also needs some padding. So what we can do, add padding of let's say 12, and the text also we can use some padding, let's say of 18. So now if I'll just press on it, you can see it's looking much better. This is the summary. Okay, if you want you can make it bold or whatever you want. This is the summary of this particular episode, and it is looking kind of cool. We have the animation, and that's it. I mean, this refresh is not doing anything, but what you can do, you can go to main.dart on the refresh part, just do one thing, just call the fetch episodes again, and yes, that's it, you are done. I mean, it will just fetch the episodes again, but that is not needed, and we have done everything. Okay, in the next video, maybe the Game of Thrones video, what we can do, we can actually use a video player here to actually, we cannot just fetch the episodes, but we can actually show some trailers. So that's what we can do, and then we can also manipulate it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, also press the bell icon if you want to get the future updates, and please just pardon me for not updating the videos frequently, because I hardly get any time to do that, but I'll be doing doing this in much better way. So thank you so much guys for watching. Source code will be uploaded on GitHub, so just see the link in the description, and please make sure you are the subscriber of the channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye, take care, and keep fluttering. I'll see you in the next video, and also don't forget about the giveaway, which will be announced next week. So just be a subscriber, comment that why you love Flutter. That's it. Okay, thank you so much.